What's up YouTube, Doe here from Zephyr, and today I'm going to bring you a test and combo video for the Dark Magician Illusion build that I showed you all the other day. Now we're going to do one test and going first, one test and going second, but what I'm also going to do at the start of this video is I'm going to show you the one card illusion combo so you can see what on its own it gets you. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. So you're going to start off with your Cornfield Kotal. Now, of course, you can also just hard open up the Mirror Sword Knight, but with the Cornfield, you're going to get the most advantage with the most negates in the graveyard. So you start off by discarding your Kotal, you search yourself out your Mirror Sword Knight, you normal summon your Mirror Sword Knight, you use this effect, you tribute it off to then get you into your big winged Berthamet. If this card is normal or special, you get to add a level 4 beast monster or a Chimera Fusion from or a Chimera Fusion from your deck to the hand. So you're going to be able to add Chimera Fusion and Gazelle, the King of Mythical Claws. Then what you're going to do here is you're going to activate your Chimera Fusion, you're going to fuse the big winged with the Gazelle, and you're going to go into your Chimera King of the Phantom Beasts. You're now going to be able to build a very nice chain link. So you're going to go chain link 1, which will be the Chimera, the King of the Phantom Beast, to rip one from your opponent's hand during the end phase. Then you'll be able to go chain link 2 your Mythical Claws and chain link 3 big Berthamet. Now make sure your Gazelle is the one in the middle because Gazelle is the only one that can really be ashed. If you're worried about Ghost Bell, then you're going to want to make sure you go Gazelle 1, Big Wing 2 and then Chimera 3 because then this is the only one that can't be stopped with a Bell or an Ash. Big Winged will then let you special summon one back from the graveyard, so you're going to special summon back the Mirror Sword because this is the one that can tag out to summon any illusion monster from the deck. So if you do play Illusion Magician, you can go directly into that as well. You're then going to use Gazelle, and Gazelle is going to add you a Cornfield just for follow-up, but it can also be utilised as very easy discard fodder for Dragoon, which you will need when you're playing out your Dragoon combo. On top of that as well, you can now also use the effect of Chimera Fusion to add that back to the hand because you've got Chimera, the King of the Phantom Beasts, and you can set this. So you'll still have a remaining 4 cards in your hand, which is absolutely insane. And you've got your ability to tag out for a Mirror Sword. You've got the graveyard effect of Cornfield. You'll also have the graveyard effect of Mirror Sword because it can be used on the field as well. Plus you've got the ability to Chimera Fusion. And on the very least, you've got the ability to pop 2, draw 1 for your Guardian Chimera. Or you'll have the ability to go into a free attack if you want to Chimera the Illusion Beast. So there is your aggression going into turn 2 for you. Turn 3 of the duel. So that's pretty much it for the very basic standard combo. Just to show you exactly what the illusions can do. So the idea is that when you're adding Dark Magician to that element, you're basically trying to add a Dragoon to the board, which is very easily done with stuff like Magician's Souls, Illusion of Chaos, you name it. You've got plenty of ways to get into it. It's absolutely insane. So what we're going to do is we're going to shuffle this up. We're going to do one test and going first, one test and going second, just to kind of show you what the deck can do and how it can operate. So after a very decent shuffle and a good old cut, our starting hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, that hand is just absolutely broken. So we're going to start off by special summoning out the Fenrir. We're going to use this effect to search. Now, the best thing about the Fenrir is if you leave it on the board, you've got a nice form of interruption. If you choose to get rid of it, you can actually overlay it into a very cool XYZ. So we're going to go for our Kashtira Fenrir. And now you also have a very good free fodder to put back into the deck if you want to, but I'm going to put the Gazelle back because that's the one that's going to gain us the most advantage. So we're going to activate the Illusion of Chaos. What Illusion of Chaos is going to want to do is Illusion of Chaos is going to want to search us out specifically. You don't really want to go for Rod because you're not going to be able to do anything with it. But what you are going to want to do is you're going to want to add a Dark Magician or a non-ritual monster. It's a real shame that it has to be like specifically a monster. It would be nice if you can add a spell because then it basically just replaces Rod. But what you're going to go for, you could go for Apprentice Illusion. We're going to go for Timaeus. We'll shuffle these up. We'll then put back the Gazelle and we're going to utilize the normal summon of our Mirror Sword. So that's why you don't go for Rod. If you wanted to go for Rod because you're like, oh, I really need Rod, then you can go for it that way. What you're going to do here is you're going to normal summon out your Mirror Sword. Mirror Sword can then tribute itself off to special summon out Big Winged. Now, ideally, you'd want the Kotal. And if you're worried about Droll, then you would make sure you special Fenrir first, normal summon the Mirror Sword, use Mirror Sword's effect, see if they've got a Droll because you're then going to go into Big Wing. Big Winged will then search. It's now at this point that if your opponent wants to Droll you, they can. And then you would use Fenrir if they haven't done that. So that's the safest route to do it. Just to keep that in mind. It depends on your local environment and if people are maining Droll or not. So with a big winged, of course, we're going to add the Chimera and the Gazelle. Now we are locked into fusion summoning. So if you wanted to do an XYZ summon prior to this, you would make sure you'd have to do Magician Souls first before you conduct your normal summon of the Mirror Sword. So keep that in mind. It really depends on the route and the angle you're trying to go to. Off this one here, we're going to want to use Magician Souls. Magician Souls will ultimately send Dark Magician and then summon Dark Magician. There we go. Now you're going to activate your Chimera Fusion. Chimera Fusion is going to use Big Winged and Gazelle. And this is going to get you into your Chimera, the King of the Phantom Beasts. So just to explain the example that I did going first when I showed you the combo, just to protect us from Bell and Ash, we'll go Chain Link 1 Gazelle, Chain Link 2 Big Winged, Chain Link 3 Chimera. So Chimera will attempt to rip a card from our opponent's hand during the end phase. Big Winged Baphomet will special summon the Mirror Sword back from the graveyard. And then your Gazelle will then allow you to add a Kotal to your hand. Now the best thing about this is we haven't used Kotal's effect yet, so you can actually discard it now, just so you've got that targeted protection in the grave, and then go for another Mirror Sword. You can now use the ability, because you control a Chimera the King Phantom Beast, to add back the Chimera Fusion. You've then got the ability to use Timaeus, sending your Illusion of Chaos from the deck, from your hand to the graveyard. You can use Timaeus' effect to fuse these and go into Dragoon. So now obviously the sequence of plays that were made out, the only thing you have to do first is special summon down the Fenrir before you put a monster on the board. However, from that point on, everything is then interchangeable to what you're expecting. If you think your opponent's got a Nibiru, then you want to get to your Dark Dragoon as early as you possibly can. If you feel your opponent's got a Draw and Lockbird, again, you probably want to save your Fenrir Search. Keep all of that in mind. Now the idea is we're going to be able to set the Chimera Fusion, we're going to hold on to the Mirror Sword Knight and the Fenrir, we're going to pass our opponent's turn. So what we currently have here is Chimera the King of the Phantom Beast is going to rip one from our opponent's hand. That straight away is going to make your opponent play with 5 cards rather than 6 to try and break this board. We can then, on assumptions, go Mirror Sword Knight, tag itself out, special summon out anything you want. Now this is obviously if you do play a second Chimera Fusion, if you do play a second Big Winged, you can go into those. That is entirely up to you. For me right now, I'm just going to go boring and go into the Kotal Snake. Of course, you can go into the Illusion Magician as well. Really comes down to your build. I'm still playing around with the Illusion Magician as to whether I like it or not, because it kind of has the Mahard feeling of if I have it in my hand, it really is a pain in the ass to deal with. If it stays in the deck, absolutely fine. Now obviously you can put it back in the deck with, of course, your Illusion of Chaos, so that's something to keep in mind. So what this is going to allow us to do is we now still have the negate of the Mirror Sword in the graveyard. We've also got the negate protection of the Kotal in the graveyard as well. So that's 2 forms of disruption. We've got the Dragoon negate, which can also send the Fenrir or the Mirror Sword. Again, depending on what you're trying to play for. Mine is like pretty much if my opponent clears my board, I've got a Fenrir to bounce back on. So that's 3 forms of interruption. We've got the 4th off of Fenrir, should that cause us an issue. And then we've got 5 off of the Chimera Fusion. Now you've got a couple of ways that you can do this one as well. That really depends on how you want to play it. You can go directly with Chimera King plus Cornfield, and this is just going to get your aggressor on the board. Ideally, you're going to want to be as disruptive as possible. So you're probably going to be more likely to go, okay, cool, let's go into Guardian Chimera, use Kotal, use Chimera, use the Fenrir that we've left in our hand, go into Guardian Chimera. Guardian Chimera is going to pop 2, draw us 1 more card. Chimera Fusion is going to go to the graveyard. So ultimately what you're doing here is your Dragoon is now going to be a base of 4k because it's already negated a card. You've popped 2 cards of the Guardian Chimera. You've negated 2 with Sword and Kotal in the grave. Fenrir is banished 1. Chimera's ripped 1. And then you also have the ability of banishing the Chimera from the graveyard to special summon back a Fiend from the graveyard, which of course can be Big Winged. And again, this is where you're going to get more advantage out of playing more of the Chimera engine. I just try to keep the balance as even as possible because this will then allow you to add 2 more, a level 4 beast and or a Chimera Fusion from the deck to the hand. So that, again, that gives you enough kind of advantage to crack back on the next turn. Not that you absolutely need it. Like as you're currently seeing here, this board here, after we've disrupted so many times, is game. You've got 7-3 just with those 2, and then obviously your Fenrir is going to take it way over game. So that's it for the defensive play. That's your ideal kind of scenarios. Your ideal scenario is that you're going to be able to get into a Dragoon, it's going to give you protection. Fenrir is just an added bonus to that in-ball, which is really, really nice, but he's going to be more beneficial for going second. So now what we're going to do is we're going to shuffle out, and now we will go second just to kind of show you the bare basics of what you're trying to work with and how you're looking for. Now ideally going second, you want to be able to get into a Trivial Tactics Thrust leading into a Dark Rule and No More. That's why we main deck the board breakers as we do. You also got the Forbidden Droplet as well to kind of allow you to gain as much advantage as possible. So after another decent shuffle and a good old cut, our test hand going second will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, well, we've got our board negator, which is really, really nice. We've got Fenrir. We don't have a root. Like, I mean, technically, if you wanted to, you could special summon Magician Souls or Dark Magician and trivia off a Big Winged, which would be very, very funny. Because then this would allow you to get you into your Gazelle play. Alternatively, you've also got Illusion of Chaos to put that back to the deck. And I suppose this is a nice way to show you what's going to happen if you don't use your Illusion plays. So let's special summon down the Fenrir. That's going to cause our opponent a huge amount of issues already. If we're worried about a draw or a negation on the Fenrir to search, obviously you want to use the Illusion of Chaos. Illusion of Chaos on this one, you can add your Magician's Rod, but you're not really going to get anything because you've already added the secrets. Like, the best thing you're going to get is a Soul Servant, which with Soul Servant you're just guaranteeing to get your Timaeus, which you can do with this hand anyway. So there's no real desire to do something like that unless you feel you absolutely have to. So what you're going to want to do here is if we add the Rod, you're going to go for your Soul Servant or a Circle if you're feeling really, really risky, with the hopes that you will reveal a Soul Servant off the top of that, but that's risk and reward on that part of it. Ultimately, again, you can just go straight for the Timaeus Dragon, and the best thing about the Timaeus Dragon is it's just an insane aggressor, which is really, really kind of cool. So we'll go for the Timaeus Dragon, and then again, it comes down to personal preference. Do you want to put the Big Winged back into the deck? Do you want to summon it out? How do you want to do it? That's really kind of like the route of play you want to go. Do I want to go for my Chimera Fusion play, or do I want to go all-out aggression in the battle phase? So I'm going to put the Big Winged back, because I'm going to go all-out aggression during the battle phase. So what you're going to want to do here, after we've put that back, is you're going to want to use Magician's Souls. You're going to send it, and you are going to summon out your Dark Magician. And the reason you're going to do all of this is because this is your aggression that not a lot of people will actually see. So you're going to go into your Dark Magician. You're then going to use Timaeus to summon itself down, getting rid of the Illusion of Chaos. You can now use Fenrir to search. You could have used Fenrir to search previously. That would just give you another form of discard in your hand for the Forbidden Droplet. So now what you're going to want to do now is you're going to go into the battle phase. Yes, you won't have the effect of Timaeus to fuse right now because you're in the battle phase, but because you've got the Secrets of Dark Magician, this is going to push your aggressive power. So you go to the battle phase, you use Fenrir's effect to declare and then banish, and then on the redeclare, you could use Forbidden Droplet if you want to get more damage in to send the Fenrir. We're going to want to make sure that our Dragoon gets in the maximum amount of damage as possible. So what you're going to do here is you're going to want to attack with this Fenrir, banish one card, attack with it, do some damage. Attack with Dark Magician, do some damage. Attack with Timaeus, do some damage. Still in the battle phase, activate Secrets of Dark Magic, activate one of the following effects. Fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material, including a Dark Magician or a Dark Magician girl. So we're going to fuse Dark Magician with the Timaeus and go directly into our Dragoon. Now, of course, if we had done this during the main phase, Dragoon would have got the ability to non-target pop and burn. Really does come down to what your opponent's board is currently presenting with. You're then going to declare an attack with Dragoon, but during the damage step, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to activate the Forbidden Droplet. Now, if they've got 2 monsters on the board, you're going to send 2. If they've only got 1, you're just going to send the Fenrir on the board, because the idea of sending it from the board is that you're pushing for game. Like, they might be like, oh, don't worry, I've got a monster that is 3k on the board, you've killed everything else, you're not going to be able to kill it with Dragoon. You go Droplet, send the Fenrir, boom, Dragoon goes in for game. Now, obviously, the reason you'd keep the Fenrir in hand is you've got the ability to discard, so you've got that negate left of Dragoon. You have burnt your entire hand. Like, you have gone all out, all to the wall kind of play. Now, I'm not saying you have to be doing this. This is definitely something you could change up a little bit. This is just an all-out aggression. I am pushing for game. And when doing so, we've had the ability to banish one. We've had the ability for 4 attacks in general. Technically 5 if you account Fenrir being able to technically redeclare an attack. And then, of course, you've pushed yourself into a Dragoon. The safest way of doing this, if you were to rewind this game state, is you would actually just leave Timaeus and Dark Magician on the board. You would calculate the damage percentage of, okay, am I better off attacking? Like, has my opponent got more monsters? Am I better off attacking with these 2? Or am I better off using Timaeus' effect to fuse into Dragoon? Dragoon's effect to non-target destroy it and burn my opponent, and then swing in with Dragoon. If you do that, it means your Secret Dark Magic is completely useless. It just becomes fodder for your Forbidden Droplet, and you'd have to hold one back. So you'd be setting 2, passing to your opponent's turn, and then during your opponent's turn, you would have to use Fenrir first, and then you can use Forbidden Droplet, and you have the ability to negate up to 3. But you ideally want to keep a Fenrir in the hand so you can negate off a Dragoon. So it is a lot of if, buts, maybes, and reading the board state. But obviously that was just the natural play of Dark Magician, of showing you how aggressive you can be with this deck. A lot of people might have done exactly what I didn't do, which would go Timaeus with Dark Magician straight into a Dragoon. But then, like I said, that's the whole idea behind that is thinking forward. So thinking forward, did you want to use Dragoon to pop and burn? What has the board state got? How do you want it to kind of continue? And if you didn't want to do any of that and you're like, you know what, I just wanted to go into the Chimera plays, let's show you a quick reset actually, just to see what happens if we kept the Chimera play in the hand. So we had Droplet, we had Illusion, we had Secrets of Dark Magic, we had the Baphomet, and we had Fenrir, right? So you'd still special the Fenrir. We would then still activate the Illusion of Chaos, but this time Illusion of Chaos will actually search us out. Again, it would still go for the Timaeus. I mean, it could go for Dark Magician actually, it's probably a little bit more beneficial. Because what you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to use Magician's Souls, summon itself, or you can summon a Dark Magician. Doesn't make much of a difference on this one. Either way, it would get tributed off the board. So you're going to send the Dark Magician. You'll then use Big Wing, so we're going to tribute off the Magician's Souls, search out Big Wing. Big Wing's effect will search you out Chimera Fusion. And it can search you out any level 4 beast. So I'm going to be going straight to our Gazelle. There we go. You can then use Fenrir, and the reason you're going to use Fenrir now is just to get you that advantage in your hand. So Fenrir will then add itself. Obviously, Illusion of Chaos needs to put a card back, would have been smart. So, I mean, it wouldn't have made much of a difference because if you weren't going to use Secrets of Dark Magic, you could actually get rid of that. But we will put... I plan to use the fusion during the battle phase. So let me just double check what options we can go for. I mean, we've got loads to go for, really. Okay, cool. So we'll actually keep the Dark Magician. We'll put the Illusion of Chaos back. Cool. So now what you want to do here is if you want to recycle the Chimera Fusion, then you're going to want to add this back. But the fact is you can only use this effect, which is the recycle effect, once per turn. What you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to utilize it as much as possible. So let me just double check this. Add this card to the hand. I mean, I get 2 fusion summons off the bat of the Chimera Fusion. Is it worth doing it? Probably not. So we'd activate the Chimera Fusion. Now the reason you'd go for 2 is you'd have to go Gazelle and Big Winged. These would then go into your Chimera. Chimera would then try and loop one from your opponent's hand. Now the issue is, this one specifically targets Illusion Monster. We don't have an Illusion Monster in the graveyard, which big sad. But we will be able to get the Gazelle effect. Gazelle will then allow us to add Illusion Monster from our deck to our hand. So we're going to go for the Kotal. We're going to discard the Kotal. We're going to go for the Mirror Sword. There we go. We're going to add back the Chimera Fusion. Shuffle that up. Now you've got the ability to activate the Chimera Fusion again. Let me just double check because you can only use this effect referring to... I'm assuming it's used this effect referring to the recycle ability. Because that's how I understand it. Obviously, it's only the recycle capability. Then what you can very easily do is you can very easily go, okay, cool, I'm going to upgrade my Chimera the Beast. And I'm going to go into a Dracus Tapelio. Now it's done everything I need it to do. I can actually upgrade into a Dracus Tapelio using Dark Magician if I want to. Or you can actually just go, okay, Chimera Fusion, I want to pop 2. So we use Chimera, use the Mirror Sword, and we will use Fenrir on the board. Again, it depends if you want to be banishing stuff, you want to be drawing stuff, you want to be popping stuff. You really do need to kind of read the game state, basically. Let's go for the draw, actually. We might even draw into a dragon, which would be really nice. So we're going to Guardian Chimera. Now, keep in mind, if you can't use the Chimera Fusion a second time, you could actually use Secrets of Dark Magic and you'd still get pretty much the same outcome. So we're going to pop 1. I'm going to shuffle out and draw 2. 1, 2. Boom. Rod and Circle, okay? It's not the best, but it's not the worst either because we can still activate Circle. Circle will then let us reveal 3. I don't expect to hit anything here. No. They can go back. God, why can't I get that Druid's one? So now, as this currently stands, you still have the ability to go into the battle phase. Chimera's popped 1, drawn 2. Circle isn't going to do anything for us because we can't get the Dark Magician to the board, sadly. But you still have... well, I mean, we're going a little bit astray here, but you can go into the battle phase, you can still activate Secrets of Dark Magic. Secrets of Dark Magic will still allow you to get into your Predaplant Dracus Tapelio as well. Alternatively, again, just showing you all the different options for this, just so you can see where else we could have gone. Let me put, we'll still get the draws. Actually, no, we wouldn't. Still want to get the draws. So we'll put those back. We'll reset it to having Chimera Fusion, Gazelle, and Mirror Sword in the hand. So to go for your aggression, we'll show the Fenrir as well. To go for your aggression, you can go for Chimera Fusion. You can use the Chimera, the King of Beasts plus the Mirror Sword Knight. This will maintain your negations in the graveyard. You go for your Chimera, the Illusion Beast. You've then got the ability to still activate Secrets of Dark Magic if you want to. The issue is, Secrets of Dark Magic, there's not really anything we can do with Dark Magician and Fenrir. So you'd probably be going into the battle phase. Chimera Beast, declare with Fenrir first, banish one card, declare, get some damage in. Chimera will then attack, you take a little bit of damage, it can then attack again because it's got a second attack. Still in the battle phase, activate Secrets of Dark Magic, use these to go into a Dracostapelia. Dracostapelia gets some damage on. If you feel you need to use Droplet, you can use Droplet, sending the Fenrir to half damage as well. So I mean, there's loads of different routes for that route, like that outcome of play. It really depends on how you want to look at it. Like you saw, if you decided to go pure Dark Magician, you could go very, very aggressive, but you burn everything out. If you wanted to utilize the Chimera play in that particular hand, you could do. It just goes down a different rate, different way. Anyway, I hope you found this useful. I hope the combo at the start kind of gave you the basic of what Illusion does. There is no direct synergy between the two, in my opinion, apart from the fact that you can utilize the Chimeras to give you access to stronger fusion plays. Of course, Branded is probably going to be a little bit more consistent, but I do still like the graveyard protection. The hand rip is also amazing as well, and the loop of Chimera Fusion is absolutely insane. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you do like, comment, subscribe, share. Any questions at all, by all means, please put them in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them for you. But for now, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.